As promised, here's the part 2 for the 7 deadly sins as real life animals. We covered the first 3 in the first video, so we're going to be covering the remaining 4 in this one. I think most of you agreed with my first roster of candidates, but this one might be a bit more controversial. So let me know in the comments who you'd place instead of these. Enough small talk, let's get right into it. Wrath, the feeling you get when your teacher gives you an extension for an assignment you gave up sleep for. The sin is basically the raw, uncontrollable feeling of hatred, anger, or the desire for revenge. Some of you probably expected a fierce carnivore, probably like a lion or tiger, but it's actually a herbivore. The vegetarian most of you somehow think is cute is one of the most hateful creatures we walk the earth with. I was at first going to put the Japanese giant hornet because these things are just pure black Air Force energy. They will jump you if you get too close, and if one jumps you, then they all jump you. But the reason the hippo wins is that it has beef with everything, especially its own species, and kills more people in Africa than any other mammal. That's right folks, this shit-spraying refrigerator on legs kills more people than lions, leopards and hyenas combined. They are extremely territorial, and the reason for this may be due to their excessively high testosterone. There are videos of antelope escaping crocodiles while crossing the river, but then the hippo goes out of its way to kill it. I could understand it being aggressive to predators, but jumping an antelope is egregious work. Strangely enough, the only other large creature they seem to have some sort of truce with are the Nile crocodiles, most of the time. I think it's less of a truce and more of a if you leave me alone then I'll leave you alone. Because unless you're Gustav, a hippo would one-shot any crocodile. There are instances of male hippos killing infants that are their own, just to make their mother more readily available for mating once again. It is fairly common for mammals to kill the offspring of other males in order to secure their own bloodline, but they usually don't kill their own offspring. Hippos on the other hand don't discriminate. Everything's fair game. Hippos have been known to chase people for hundreds of meters to ensure that they are no longer breeding, just because the people were on the land. And a fair amount of the time the person gets caught, since hippos are able to reach 25 miles per hour, which is faster than 99% of the population. Nothing escapes their wrath, even boats and canoes, as this is one of the main ways hippos get to people, by tipping over the local canoes and then checking them in the water. They'll even try to go after larger metal commercial boats, which would scare off most things with the noise they create. But not the hippos. Here's another instance of unadulterated malice by these wide-faced heathens. This gazelle or antelope, whatever it is trapped in the mud after being chased by wild dogs, and the wild dogs are trying to get to the gazelle. But then the hippo pulls up, and instead of trying to get to the predators, it grabs the gazelle instead with its mouth and just ragdolls it. And you can see that even the wild dogs are a bit astonished. They're probably like, aren't you on the same team? The only other things I've seen that were able to check a hippo are elephants and rhinos, which brings me some amount of joy seeing them get pushed around for once. Their malice for everything that moves is something to behold, but the next animal couldn't really care less on what goes on around it. No, I'm not going to put the sloth for sloth, since they literally don't have a say in the matter. It's how they were made, and I found another animal that's even more lazy than them in a sense. Sloth is a lack of spiritual or physical effort, like you watching a movie or something instead of doing that one task that you know you're supposed to. Some great candidates would be pandas, the sloth itself, lions. Yes, lions, despite what National Geographic shows you, they spend most of their life sleeping. They hunt and sleep, with the males doing their occasional border patrol. The one animal that beats this, however, is what most of you want to see if you want to go to Australia. The koala. Yes, these cute but not so cuddly fiends spend usually no more than 2 to 4 hours a day awake, with the remainder being spent snoozing. Part of this is due to their diet, like the pandas. But not even a yin-yang bears sleep this much. The eucalyptus leaves that these marsupials consume have a toxin that can't be processed by any other animal. Heck, it can't even be properly processed by them either. Like, how unlucky do you have to be in the evolutionary race that the one thing you're supposed to be specialized in eating requires you to sleep for around 18 to 20 hours a day just to digest it. Fun fact for those who don't know. But your cute little marsupial feeds its young its own feces in order to give it the bacteria it requires to eat the eucalyptus. Isn't that fun? They also bite like really bad and can transfer diseases such as chlamydia. There was a video I saw as a child, I can't find the video now, but it was a koala sleeping in a tree and a lace monitor I think was climbing right up towards it. The koala did briefly open its eyes and then just went back to sleep. That's a literal predator walking towards you, and your first decision after finding out that that's near you is to go back to sleep. Even the lace monitor was a bit stunned because I think it just went back down without doing anything. And mind you, the lace monitor is not a small animal. As bad as going back to sleep while there's something wanting to eat you right in front of your faces, the next animal on the list isn't that surprising. Yeah, call me basic all you want, but who else do you think would fit the sin any better? Pride in the Bible is the exact same thing that led to the downfall of Lucifer. It's seeing yourself as superior to everyone else around you, and this sometimes can lead to one's own destruction, and this does actually happen a lot for the pick of this list, the lion. Often represented as the symbol of pride in a lot of cinema, hell, even in some anime such as the Seven Deadly Sins, where Escanor has the mark of a lion and was a sin of pride. But what makes it a pick for the sin is its general mannerism. Yeah, we see them run away from a lot of stuff, but hey, if I saw a 3-ton bulldozer with spikes for teeth running towards me, I'd make a run for it too. There are many videos of lions being killed in a fight, and some call it courage, but some of the times it's just stupid. First off, I just want to set a record straight. It's very hard for an animal to actually represent pride to the degree that we think about it, because these guys are thinking of survival or what they think is best for them. Now with that out of the way, there are clips of some young male lions trying to take on adult males and getting mauled for it. There was a case where a band of juvenile brothers who not too long left the pride entered the territory of another brother duo, but they were adults with their own pride. When the adult males spotted the sub-adults, one of the younger brothers booked it, and the other one for whatever reason decided to stand his ground and take on the two adults. He got banged up, but he did survive somehow, and there's a decent amount of videos showing this. Besides us, lions are one of the few animals I've found that put themselves in direct danger instead of backing off, and not showing any amount of self-preservation. It's like you and your friend walking down an alley and 4 big buff dudes appear, obviously wanting to cause you harm. Now, your friend takes off since he wants to live, but your dumbass thinks you're the main character, so you stand your ground and try to fight them, just to get laid out on the floor and robbed. That's basically what a good chunk of these young male lions do. You could say that the adults do this too, but that's more so to defend their pride, since if new males take over, then they kill his own offspring. But for the sub-adult male who decide to ignore their self-preservation and take on their 480 plus pound counterparts for no reason, it's a bit strange. Even in other carnivores, we see the smaller individual usually run as fast as they can away from the larger aggressor in order to live another day. There's probably one animal out there that can represent pride better, and if you can name it, then leave it in the comment below. Greed is the excessive desire for wealth or material things. It's a bit weird for an animal to represent this because, let's face it, most of them are thinking about their own survival. But when you're taking light bulbs off of someone's porch, it becomes a different story. Raccoons are often called the bandits of the forest, and for good reason. Often viewed as pests in many urban areas due to them rummaging through garbage and carrying rabies. But the bin hunting is more so for survival than being greedy. Some even enter houses to try and find food, yet could somehow end up leaving with your watch instead of food. Raccoons are very intelligent, and unfortunately, coupled with that intelligence, they have very dexterous hands that allow them to grab and pull things similar to the way we do. They also have the ability to take your light bulbs, and they do. These raccoons were caught unscrewing a light bulb and then running off with it. I mean, it's more of an annoyance than any real harm, but still, imagine just installing a new light bulb to replace the one you just blew, just to find out the rabies-infested bandit took off with it. They are so bold that they will attempt to take jewelry even when the owner is relatively close. Some of their bounty have been found in their hideouts, which are usually holes in the trees. They're basically the redneck hoarders of North America. Their thievery is so bad that instead of going to court to seek a penalty, most people immediately pick the death penalty if they find out raccoons are in the area. They set traps and they get caught. So much for being smart. While most animals are foraging for food or storing up for the changing seasons, these beefed up striped looking rats are busy satisfying their curiosity. And some even have the balls to try and attack people for their belongings if they don't get it. Anyway, that's just about a wrap for this one. I had to re-upload the first version due to some YouTube issues that didn't really make sense, so give that video some support. You guys can let me know who you think would be better fits for the sins I picked in this video. Also give any suggestions on what videos I should do next. And with that, I'll see you in the next video.